I hope you will help me give him a very warm welcome to both the founder and chairman of Nashville Health and SCORE, Senator Bill Frist.
Jamie, thank you. And on behalf of SCORE and Nashville Health, welcome everyone. 500 people, as Jamie said, 500 people with very different backgrounds have gathered for this particular summit, one of the first convenings of its kind in the country. Why? Why is this work so important? Why should we care about this inextricable connection between student health and education? I want to answer that question by telling the story of one student with two possible outcomes for her health, for her education, for her well-being, and for her long-term success. Meet Briana. Briana is a middle school student in Tennessee and is one of many who come from a home where her parents struggle to make ends meet. Her family sometimes don't have enough to eat, and she regularly gets to school hungry, which makes it hard to concentrate in class. She often feels tired, and instead of focusing on her lessons, Briana struggles to absorb the material and misses out on many of those key concepts. Sometimes the stress at home causes her to act out, or she'll fall asleep at her desk. When her class breaks for that 15 minutes of daily recess, Briana spends her time standing and Snapchatting with her friends because her school doesn't have a playground. It doesn't have a walking track. This daily 15 minutes counts toward her total of 90 minutes of required physical activity, even though she isn't active, even though she's not receiving any at all structured physical education. When her empty stomach gives her a headache later that day, she asks to see a nurse. But Briana's school doesn't have a nurse. Why? Because they don't have the resources. So instead, she's seen by the principal, who really is not in a position to evaluate her medically, and the principal calls her parents to come pick her up. Because Briana's parents are paid hourly, the time away from work really does hurt that family's income. And because Briana is sent home instead of treated at school, she misses her math classes, she misses her science classes, she doesn't receive her homework assignments for the next day, and clearly isn't prepared for the pop quiz that will occur. Her grades fall. Briana's neighborhood doesn't have parks, it doesn't have public parks, it doesn't have playgrounds. So she usually spends her time after school playing games on her phone. Without getting any regular physical exercise, her health suffers and she misses more and more school. Her chronic absenteeism means her grades continue to slip. And when she gets to high school, she's behind many of her peers. College seems so out of reach when high school is such a challenge. Let all that sink in for a moment. Maybe you know students like Briana who struggle just like this. But this does not have to be Briana's story, and for many Tennessee students, it isn't. Let's look at what Briana's different reality could be, and could be for so many other students. For example, if Briana attended school in Putnam County, when she started her day, she would get a free school breakfast. That makes her more likely to actually make it to school and to be on time for her classes. And she'll be better able to pay attention, to score better on tests, to be more engaged in her classroom with her teachers and with her classmates. Now, if she attended school in Sevier County and she did get that headache, she would be able to see a nurse or medical professional by teleconferencing or telehealth, telemedicine. Telehealth, we have found, has been proven to be a really innovative and creative way that some Tennessee school districts are addressing the whole school nurse shortages and those tight budgets. After being evaluated and resting for a bit, the nurse clears her to return to class, where Briana is able to learn the day's math and science lessons. Now, if Briana attended school in Metro Nashville, she would be able to participate in physical activity videos like Go Noodle, with those short breaks and exercise videos, and which keep her moving over the course of the day. She would have more energy, and her overall health would improve with that regular physical activity and healthy choices. Thanks to her school's focus on physical well-being and good food, good nutrition, Briana and her classmates will be more likely to have better grades, better school attendance, more energy, improved memory, and yes, even better classroom behavior. She will enter high school now ready to excel, with her sights now set on a college degree, which is great news, because college graduates can expect to live 5 years longer than people who do not finish high school. In fact, students like Briana who complete 4 additional years of education after high school are also less likely to be overweight, to smoke, or to have heart disease or diabetes. This should be the story for all Tennessee students. It shouldn't matter what school district you live in or what socioeconomic background you come from. You should make health and healthy choices an integral part of our academic culture. You know, our schools are a big, big part of that. What many don't realize that as much as 85 to 90% of a person's health is impacted by factors other than medical services, other than insurance or a doctor or a hospital, 85 to 90%. That number becomes critical when you consider that of the waking childhood time, 50% is spent in school. The schools become important. While at school, children make choices. And the choices we all make about our health, what we eat, whether or not we smoke, how much time we spend outdoors, whether or not we exercise, these decisions have a greater impact than genetics. And these health habits are developed early during a child's schooling years. In the macro picture, these health habits also have a huge, huge economic impact on the state. In Tennessee, treatment of chronic disease and preventable disease costs citizens an estimated $6 billion a year. That's more than $1,000 for every man, every woman, and every child in the state. Addressing these conditions, these preventable conditions, these chronic conditions at an early age will lead to more Tennesseans who can thrive, who can lead fulfilling lives, and who will contribute productively to society. So let's return for a moment to that original question. Why should we care about this connection between student health and education? The costs, yes, are a reason to be concerned, but it's the students like Briana who are the true reason that we care. And Tennessee, by the way, is just the right place for us to be convening to address these sorts of issues. And I say that really for 2 very different reasons. One, we are home to world-class, literally world-class healthcare companies and employers and innovators. Successful companies right here in Middle Tennessee actually run much of our nation's health infrastructure. The potential transformative power of these organizations is truly staggering, and we ought to use it to continue improving the health and well-being of our children. Now, there's a second reason, and the second reason is one that all of us in the room are excited about, and that is we in this state have a strong, a huge, a bold commitment to improving education. Since 2011, our students have made Tennessee the fastest improving state in the nation. Since 2011, students in Tennessee have made Tennessee the fastest improving state in the nation. I should say it one more time, but I won't. But it is remarkable that, again, year after year, this has been demonstrated. In 2015, Tennessee ranked in the top half of states in fourth grade math, rising from 46th to 25th in just 4 years. And last year, Tennessee students climbed into the top 20 nationally in the fourth grade science. This is remarkable progress, and this remarkable progress would not be possible without the students, yes, but especially the hard work of so many educators who are in this room right now. We are also a unique place here in Tennessee because Tennessee was the first and only state to provide funding to all school districts to establish the CDC's Coordinated School Health Model. That's something the volunteer state should and is very proud of. But, and the challenges, the but, we should recognize that today's children will be the first generation to live shorter lives than their parents, possibly. It's almost impossible to fathom, but this generation today may live shorter lives than their parents. A perfect storm of chronic obesity, of the rising drug fatalities that we hear about every day, of the digital dependence, and of that crowding into urban areas is affecting the well-being of our youngest Americans. And if we want to continue to excel academically and to build strong, healthy brains, we're going to have to think outside the box and consider student health as a central factor driving these conditions, driving these outcomes. And that is why we're having this conversation today. Our state does have some strong gaps, some large gaps in how students perform. Just 17% of students in the state are college ready in all 4 ACT subject areas. Early grade literacy continues to be a huge challenge for us. Just 1/3 of Tennessee's fourth graders are proficient in reading. Tennessee students also trail their peers nationally across a wide variety of health outcomes and behaviors. We have, when we compare ourselves to the national average, when we compare ourselves to our peer cities to which we are typically compared to, we have higher rates of obesity. We have higher rates of youth smoking. We have higher rates of teen pregnancy. We have higher rates of asthma. We have higher rates of mental health conditions, all compared to that national average. A few months ago, the latest Annie E. Casey Foundation's Kids Count poll showed that Tennessee moved up to 35th in well-being rankings compared to 38 last year. We've obviously made some gains and are making some gains in the state, but we know we can do much, much, much better. And thus our conference today. I left the Senate in 2007, and after 20 years in medicine, in the healing profession of medicine and taking care of thousands of individuals, and then moving to 12 years of policy and looking at the big and the small issues from the perch of the United States Senate, I came back to Nashville to say, for the next 15 years, what is the single most important thing, incremental thing that can be done? What lever can most effectively be pulled to change the course of history and well-being of our population, their health and the well-being? And I concluded, based on that experience, that it is this nexus of health of our young people, this nexus of the health of our young people with the education of our young people, and thus this summit today. Improving education outcomes for our children, bettering the health of the population. This physician, this policymaker, this father, this now grandfather to 6, thinking ahead, 7 on the way. I do believe that it is this this connection, this nexus of education and health, that we can move the needle to make a difference in our children's lives and in our children's children's lives. It's why we started SCORE in 2009, and it's why we started Nashville Health in 2015, and it's why I am here today. Health and education outcomes are so inextricably intertwined. We cannot improve one without touching the other. I know all of you share that passion, and you've dedicated your time and your careers to improve the lives of students across the state. And we're at a unique time, a unique moment in this work. We have an opportunity to accelerate all the exciting things that are happening and address head-on the huge challenges and disparities that we have, that we know about today. We have extensive academic research, and the work of many of you here today has, with that, shown powerful connections between health and education outcomes, and now is the time to turn these findings and promising interventions into statewide action, implementation, execution. So let's make today that we focus really on three things. Number one, collaboration. Number two, policy implementation, execution. And number three, active, making things happen, active intervention. First, collaborate to create a genuine culture of health in our schools. Collaborate to create a genuine culture of health in our schools. Improving the well-being of our students is only possible if we all, and I mean all, I mean educators and business leaders and community members, all of us work together. This is not a job for one person. This is not a job for one group. It's our collective, our aggregate responsibility. Second, put known research to work through informed policy and implementation. Tennessee can, and I truly think we will, show the nation how to translate evidence-based research into policies and programs that lead to measurable gains in student health and academic performance. And third, take action to make sure this conversation doesn't end today. It's just beginning. Each one of us can play a unique role, a specific role, individual role to change the culture of health and education in Tennessee. Determine what you will do after the summit. How will you take the things you learn and the relationships you develop today back to your own communities? What promising programs and interventions could address challenges you see in your own school district? Let's use our time together to learn not only from our presenters and our discussants, but from each other as well. This summit is unique because of the diversity, the diverse group of people, the diverse group of ideas that are in this room today. I'm grateful to all of you for spending this day with us. This summit will, I absolutely know, will spark conversations so that we can continue helping all Tennessee children lead healthier lives. As we set off on our journey today, let's keep those images, keep that story of Briana in our mind. We do have the ability to change the lives of millions of students across Tennessee and across the nation. Join me in that challenge. Thank you.